You ever been so upset after an argument that you just can't think straight? Well, what if the best person to talk to in that moment wasn't a person at all, but an AI? I know, it sounds weird. So let's dive into this really surprising story about using artificial intelligence to handle our most difficult, most human conversations. So our story kicks off with a phone call. A good friend has just gotten out of a super tough conversation with someone, and, well, she was just really distraught and upset. We've all been there, right? You're in that raw, emotional place where everything just feels totally overwhelming. But, of course, there was a catch. The person telling this story couldn't actually help. They were stuck, completely trapped, in a Zoom meeting, unable to just pick up the phone and talk their friend through it. It's such a modern dilemma, you know? Someone you care about needs you right now, but you're just not available. So what do you do in that situation? What kind of advice would you text them? Maybe something like, take a few deep breaths or try writing down your feelings. Well, the advice that was given here was something else entirely. Yeah, instead of telling her to wait, the advice was to turn to an AI. Specifically, go talk to ChatGPT about it. Now, I know that might sound kind of cold, right? Almost impersonal. But the instructions that came with that suggestion were super specific. The friend was told to network with the AI, and that meant telling it everything. I'm not talking about just a summary. I mean all of it. The good parts, the bad parts, and yeah, especially the ugly parts. The whole idea was to hold absolutely nothing back. Just pour out the entire unfiltered experience to the machine. And here's the crucial part. The promise wasn't that the AI would give her a virtual hug or tell her what she wanted to hear. No, the promise was that it would provide reasonable, functional solutions, a practical roadmap to get through this thing without any lasting emotional pain or scars. Okay, so the Zoom meeting finally ends and a follow-up call is made. And what happened in that short amount of time was honestly just dramatic. The friend who had been so completely spun out just a little while ago, she was different. The transformation was just staggering. She went from being totally distraught, caught up in what the source calls a reactive mind, that state of emotional overload where your feelings just take the wheel, to feeling good, positive, and totally in control. This wasn't just a little mood boost, it was a complete 180 on her entire emotional state. She felt like she was back in charge of the situation. She wasn't going to fire off some angry, impulsive text message. Nope. Instead, she had a clear, actionable plan. A plan to just wait 24 hours, let the emotions cool down, and then send a carefully worded message that was all about expressing her own feelings, not about pointing fingers. So this just begs the question, right? How on earth did a language model pull this off? It's not a therapist. It doesn't have feelings or life experiences. So what was the secret sauce here? What actually created such a powerful result? Well, the source actually has a name for this: ChatGPT networking. The core idea is pretty simple, actually. You're using the AI as a totally neutral third party. Think of it like a filter. It doesn't get emotional, it doesn't take sides, it just takes in the information you give it and helps you get past that initial gut reaction to find a clear path forward. So how does this actually work? The process is surprisingly straightforward. First, you just vent. You dump all of your raw, unfiltered thoughts and feelings into the AI, which is basically a judgment-free zone. Since it's not a person, you don't have to worry about burdening it or what it'll think. In return, you get this calm, logical, filtered take on the situation. And that's what leads to the most important step: using that outside clarity to get a handle on your own reactive mind and take back control. The main goal, really, is to overcome her reactive mind and calm her down. It's all about taking the emotional heat out of the moment. See, when you interact with something that isn't emotional at all, it's like you short-circuit that whole fight-or-flight response, which lets the more rational part of your brain come back online. And the source sees this as more than just a clever life hack. They actually call it an AI readiness success story. It's a perfect example of a human and an AI successfully working together to get a really positive outcome in a deeply personal part of life. But the ambition here, it goes way beyond just helping one person with one argument. The bigger idea is that this could be a whole new tool for how we all communicate, especially when things get heated. And I mean, the ambition is huge. This isn't just about winning arguments. It's about elevating communication itself.
The goal is to use this kind of tool to build bridges, to help bring people back to the middle, and maybe, just maybe, start to heal some of those huge societal divides by giving us a way to process conflict constructively, instead of just letting conversations blow up and end in anger. Which leaves us with this one kind of wild final thought. We usually think of AI as a tool for data, for logic, for efficiency. But what if one of its most powerful uses is actually helping us with the messiest, most emotional, and most human part of our lives, just talking to each other? Could an AI really become our new partner in human connection? It's a pretty out there idea, but it's definitely one worth thinking about.